I think all of us innately are dreamers. I think we can all go back to the feeling of this like childhood wonder. And that's where I think the power and the magic of visualization is just feeling good and thinking about where you want to be, putting yourself in it and doing it for as long as it feels good.
Hello, prosperity seekers, and welcome to another episode of the Prosperity Approach. I'm your host, Allyson Chavez. I am so excited and honored that you are here with us today, especially because I get to introduce you to the amazing Julia Martin. We're going to have the most incredible conversation about visualization and manifesting and balance when you're a working mom. And it's all the things, all the things. First, real fast, if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, then be sure that you're following us on your favorite app. If you're watching us on YouTube, then please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you know what's going on, when it's going on, all the things. You can also head on over to AllysonChavez.com for free resources, free meditations, things that are going to help you as you are getting to higher and higher levels of success without all the struggle. And travel is open and I love to speak. So if you or somebody you know is hosting an event and my message would resonate with the audience, shoot us an email over at clientcare@AllysonChavez.com and I would love to see how I can contribute to your event. All right, Miss Julia. Okay, I have to brag on you first. Let me tell you all just a little bit about this lady. She is so amazing. She's a manifestation and business coach whose mission is to help women ignite the fire and passion in their lives and their careers. She had a successful 12-year career in business development at Google and Twitter. And then Julia realized it was time to start sharing what she knew about manifestation with the world. She combines her deep understanding of the power of mindset with proven business strategy to help her clients transform their lives and catapult their careers. She offers one-on-one coaching, group programs, and immersive manifestation workshops, both over Zoom and in person. And she has a top-ranking podcast. It's called Dream Your Life, Manifest a Life You Love. That's actually how we got connected. I got to be on her podcast and I'm like, Julia, I want my audience to know you. So Julia, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much, Allyson. I'm so excited. And I loved the conversation that we had on my podcast. So it's so fun that we get to do this again.
I agree. Okay. So let's dive right into the meat of this. Let's talk about visualization.
Okay.
And how to do it right. Because here was my experience many years ago with visualization. I closed my eyes and I was in this vast, deep abyss of blackness and I couldn't see a thing. And then I had to manufacture some sort of emotion. And I didn't even know how to do that. Like that was my visualization. Pretty sure I wasn't doing it right.
Well,
much better now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that there's like a right or wrong. It's like the outcome is really, we want to get into the energy of the place where we're trying to be. So, I mean, for me, what I think about, I always visualized as a child and growing up and didn't really know what manifestation was. I think like most of us, we're like, once we figure out or learn about the law of attraction and learn about manifestation, we're like, oh yeah, I think I did that. Or in this situation, I think I manifested this. But for me, I'm a very visual person. So one example is in high school, I was obsessed with the show Friends, obsessed with it. And I had this coffee table book. I actually recorded on on a VHS, every time the show would come on, I would record it. So I had all the episodes, but in VHS tapes. And I had this coffee table book and it had backstage sort of scenes of the sets and everything. And Allyson, I would close my eyes and I would sit on the orange couch. I would put myself literally on the stage, surrounded by, Jennifer Aniston, all these people. And I did this over and over and over again. And lo and behold, I'm in LA. I grew up in Northern California, but I was in LA, 14 years old. And I knew that they recorded Friends on Friday. And I was like, Mom, Dad, we just dropped me off here. I'm going to figure out a way to get in. And I knew I was going to be there. And I found myself on that orange couch surrounded by the actors on the front, and I was in the front set, but it was so much like I was reliving this visualization that I did over and over. And this happened to me many times with kind of like things that I would get very interested or intrigued in. And then once I started reading, this was much later on after I'd been laid off 3 times, kind of got very lost, rediscovered law of attraction and manifestation and visualization. I was like, oh my God, I know how to do this. So that's when the first thing I visualized is that I want to manifest a job at Google. And what I would do is similar to what I did in high school. So I'd close my eyes and I would put myself there physically, almost like, not like you're watching a movie of yourself, but like you see your hands and like you're in the movie. And so for me, when I would visualize getting a job at Google, it was walking around the Google campus, like in boardrooms, writing on board, like, whiteboards, in cafes, drinking coffee. I'd smell, feel, taste, feel the breeze, and really just put myself there. So that to me is visualization. It's seeing in vivid, like, 3D, vibrant colors, the place where you want to be and going into the feeling of it all.
Now, let's talk a little bit about how long you spend visualizing.
Okay.
And how long do you have to spend in the feeling of it all? Because I would love to hear your experience, and I'll share mine.
Yeah. And okay, so I don't really think that it's not like, some silver bullet answer. It's like 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week.
Right.
I think it's, you want to do it as long as it's feeling good. If it's starting to feel like a chore, or because I have clients too that are like, I'm trying to visualize every day. And it's like, already you using the word trying is taking away from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It should be much more of this daydream, almost like, you're laying in a hammock and there's the breeze, and where do you want to be? What does it feel like? If it's feeling good, you're doing it right. If it's starting to feel like homework or this thing you're trying to do, then don't do it anymore. I think all of us innately are dreamers. I think we can all go back to the feeling of this like childhood wonder. And that's where I think the power and the magic of visualization is just feeling good and thinking about where you want to be, putting yourself in it and doing it for as long as it feels good.
When you talk about hitting the feeling, is there a specific feeling that you're after, or is it just, hey, this feels like I'm here?
It's a feeling that just feels right. It's a feeling of goodness. It's, what is something that you want right now? So let's say it's falling in love. Let's put yourself, what do you want to do with your partner? Maybe it's, you just want to go on a long walk on the beach. So put yourself on that beach, start walking. What are you smelling? Like, is there ocean salty air? Is it warm outside? Look to your right. I don't like to ever put people in the visual, especially if they don't exist yet, but like, look at the hands. Are you holding hands with your partner? It's just this yummy, delicious, like, this is the future that I want to create. This is what I want. So yeah, it's a good feeling. There's a little bit of excitement, maybe butterflies. But overall, I would just say it's this like, it's this contentment.
Yes. I love that. I was listening to a thing from Joe Dispenza a little while ago, and he was like, if you really believe that your thoughts and your feelings create your reality, you would never miss a day of visualization, and you would never leave that visualization until you felt something. Yeah. And that really, really struck me, because you believe that thoughts and feelings make your reality. I believe that. Our audiences believe that. Yeah. But he said it in such a profound, like, it hit me in such a deep way. Like, if I truly believe that, I wouldn't miss a day, because I understand how important it is. And I think what most people do is they look at it as a daydream. And so they put themselves there, but they won't actually own it mentally. And so it's kind of like, oh, well, that was nice. Back to reality, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
they hit the feeling, but they don't really believe that it'll be here because it's not manifested instantly, or like whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, a visualization is like a daydream, but with an intention. Like the
Yes.
intention behind this is
Yeah.
to feel what it's going to feel like. And I'm with you. Like there are times when I want to hit gratitude and I want to cry. Like when I feel really, really grateful for
Yeah.
something, then
Yeah.
I'll cry. But
Yeah.
it's not very often that I actually am able to like drum up the tears or actually hit that emotion. And I was
Yeah.
getting frustrated with visualizing. So I was like, you know what? I just want to feel satisfied. Like I want to feel like if my heart goes, whoop, and just
Mm-hmm.
expands just a little bit, like boom, I know I have reached that energy, I've reached that feeling, and that I declared was enough.
Yes.
And then it can then it can come down and we can, go back and do life.
Totally. Totally. And I think
Yeah.
there's, seasons of our life where we actually just have to be more present. And
Mhm.
maybe it's not about visualizing the future thing. Maybe it's about getting grounded and being there in the moment with the people you love. But if you
Agreed.
are really seeking to change something in your life and you kind of have an idea of what you want it to look like, what you want it to feel like, visualization is an extremely powerful way to draw that closer to you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Okay. I have to share this story. So several years ago, we were so broke. We were getting ready to file bankruptcy, and I wanted to take my family of 6 to Hawaii so much. I wanted to have that experience because to me, Hawaii is my heaven on earth.
Oh my God, me
And
too.
I wanted that experience with all of my children.
Yeah.
And there was no way on God's green earth we were going to be able to do that. But I visualized just for peace in the moment, because like life felt like it was totally falling apart at the time. And so it was like, okay, I'm going to do 3 minutes of peace while I go into this visualization. And I did exactly what you said. I would look at our hands. I'd look at the ocean. I'd picture my
Yeah.
then 20-year-old putting his arms around my waist behind me and kiss me on the cheek, which is what he does, and saying, hey, thanks for this trip, Mom. Like I would do that. And then I would actually talk with my husband, Jeremy, about it. And I would cry. And not because I was like, it's never going to happen. It was because I was right there.
Yeah.
And this is why it's important. And this is what we would do. And it was just, like you said, it was just so yummy and so delicious. And I'll tell you what, like I wanted to go within like 5 months. We actually had everything ready to go within like 3, like stuff just opened, stuff just fell right into place. Like it was the most amazing experience.
Wow.
And that really was the catalyst to what I'm teaching now, because God was like, you need to document everything that you did to get your family here and
Yeah.
break it down. Because like what you talked about, like earlier, when people are like, oh yeah, I think I manifested something a little
Yeah.
while
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
It's like, we don't understand the pieces to it. And so we don't know how
Yeah.
to rinse and repeat, but
Yeah.
we need to learn how to rinse and repeat. So, okay,
Yeah.
this leads me to my next question. So
Yeah.
how do you manage to raise your vibration so that you can manifest with ease, especially today, because people are in a hurting place right now. So what do
Yeah.
you do to raise your
Yeah.
vibe?
So me personally,
Yeah, you personally, or
yeah.
like
Yeah.
what would you say to somebody to raise their vibration so they can manifest with greater ease?
So I think that one thing is that when we wake up in the morning, that sets the tone for our day.
Agreed.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
if you wake up in the morning and the first thing you think about is the things you're stressed about, and you're already complaining about your to-do list mentally, and you're listing off all the things, and then you go and then you stub your toe on the way to the kitchen, and then you're mad because the door still needs to be fixed, and then you go, it becomes this like sort of, tornado effect. And it's just you're going to continue to spiral down the negative. I mean, this is basics of law of attraction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yep.
and when we think about it from your vibe, it's like your vibe starts low and it's just going to stay low and maybe even go lower.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing to me, and what I tell my clients and what I really embody myself, is how can I start my day from the moment I wake up feeling good? And that actually starts with the night before. So, because we know that, when you go to sleep at night, you wake up with the same kind of energy as where you went to sleep. So the night before, for me, it's really limiting screen time. It's reading or doing something inspiring. It's getting present in the moment. It's conversations with my husband. It's not looking at all the to-dos. It's doing a little bit of gratitude. It's thinking about the next day, but much more from an intention for the day. It's just doing stuff that feels good to me. And I love reality TV. I just always have, but I have stopped only because I realized that I'd go to sleep and it just wasn't doing anything for me. And I'd wake up and it was sticking with me. And so I'll still, indulge every once in a while, but I'm so focused now on feeling as good as I can and keeping my vibe up. And I know the benefits of that I'm willing to sacrifice that like trash TV, even though it's a little guilty pleasure. But yeah, I wake up and, I set an intention for the day, which can be anything from really feel grateful and really and when I set an intention, it's something that I consciously remind myself over and over and over again throughout the day. So, because there are going to be moments and there's going to be challenges and there's going to be annoying phone calls and all that stuff. But if I can remember oh yeah, my intention was to be grateful, there's always something to look around and be grateful for. And the same with my intention was to connect today with people, whether it's my kids or my husband or my family. So setting an intention and, starting the day with appreciation just can be simple, just appreciation for coffee, for our home, for my children, for health, for anything. And you don't have to do 3 things. You don't have to write it in a gratitude journal, but it's just more about the energy that you start your day with. And I think all of us have something to be grateful for.
I 100% agree with that, regardless of what's going on in your life. The fact that you woke up and you got another chance, and you've got another opportunity to make a difference in somebody's life or to just feel the sunshine. And sometimes it has to be that simple. I think it has to be that almost simplistic. At least sometimes it does for me when I'm in a really hurting place. I can't go to joy. I can't raise my vibe from fear to joy. I can't, but I can raise it from fear to safety. I can raise it to support. I can just those baby steps.
That's exactly. I love that you said that. And I think about this kind of idea in just when we think about manifesting in general, whether it's, wanting to manifest money, you don't go to manifest $1 million if you're in this lack mindset, but maybe it's, the cup of coffee or a little, a 10% increase or whatever it is. It's the same with raising your vibe rather than try to jump to the top of this staircase. How can we just incrementally feel a little bit better? How can we incrementally believe in ourselves a little bit more? And I think that going back to your question, how do I maintain my vibe? You start it, you start your day, feeling as good as you can. And then throughout the day, just being very aware of how you feel.
Yes.
I mean, and I think we talked about this in the podcast too, but I know for me that I cannot sit at my desk for prolonged periods of times. Otherwise I get into this kind of too much in the masculine.
Yep.
So I'm so aware of my energy at this point and my vibe, I guess you would say, that when I feel it, I'm like, need to switch something up. I'm going to go walk outside. I'm going to go pet the dog. I'm going to go make myself a cup of tea. I'm going to go change it up because where I am right now, where I'm sitting doesn't feel great. So I think being very aware of how you feel and intentionally doing things, getting yourself out of that environment, out of that feeling, over and over again. So then you start to realize, oh, this thing really works. When I play really loud music, I feel a little, uplift in my energy. When I talk to my partner, that gives me the jolt I need. When I exercise, when I go outside, when I do meditation, And then, it's the balance of it all, and just being aware, and then shifting into the things that make you feel good. It's simple, right? It's simple when we think about it, but it is really powerful when you are intentional in feeling good, in keeping your vibe up.
Oh, absolutely. So you mentioned balance. So how do we have balance in our life, especially if you're a working mom? And I mean, especially as women, we're really, really good at shifting out of hats and putting different hats on many different times a day. But mom guilt is like a thing. And even though I did a podcast about getting out of mom guilt, like it's still like, is this thing. So what would you say to create balance in your life?
Well, I'm going to say the same thing what I just said, which is first being really aware.
Yeah.
And I have, the wheel of life exercise. I can't remember if we talked about it on your podcast or not, but it's an exercise that I have all my clients go through. And I actually do it myself probably once a quarter, where you just look kind of objectively at your life across 8 different areas, including your career, your finances, your health, your personal development, your relationships, your romantic life. And you just kind of check in, and the exercise actually has you like grade it between 0 and 10, how you feel. And the idea is you want this balanced wheel, because if you're putting all of your energy into, let's say, your business and in finances, but then your friendships and your romance is suffering because of it, it doesn't feel good, right? Because we want it all. So I think checking in with yourself and really like looking like, what feels out of alignment for me? And sometimes like having an exercise like this is a good way to just do that check-in. And then realizing like, okay, my health is a 1 out of 10, or why is that? I have not been prioritizing exercising. I haven't been doing my meditation or whatever it is. And then being very intentional and saying, okay, how am I going to kind of get this up to a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Well, maybe if I wake up a little bit earlier, and, so it's this type of thing. It's being aware, being intentional. But when it comes to mom guilt and stuff, I think for me, I really crave the connection with each of my kids. And I actually, this was a realization I had recently, because the mom guilt was creeping in, even though I feel like I spend a lot of time with them. A lot of that time is like bedtime. I have 3 kids under 6. Or 6 and under. And it's like, I'm constantly feeling like I'm just like, bath, blah, blah. And it's not the like relaxed, fun mom, let's play hide and seek energy. It's like very much like kind of more militant mom, which is that doesn't feel that good, but it's necessary. And so I realized, I spend a lot of time with the 3 of them, but when I have my one-on-one time with each of them, I get so much out of it. So I have now been much more intentional in carving that out. So I took my son on he's my middle son, on a really random little trip. We just stayed a night in a hotel, and it was like it was about 24 hours, and it was everything I needed. And the same with my daughter. It's like, we will just go, I'll say it's just girl time, and we'll go on a hike, just an hour, and then I get that too. So I think for the mom piece, the individual, if you have more than one child, the individual connection with each can really do so much for your soul and for feeling that sense of balance, in my opinion.
I love that. And it doesn't have to be, like you said, it doesn't have to be these huge things. Go wander around the mall with your daughter. Or if your son loves that, go wander around the mall with him and just be with them.
Yeah. And then it's like, even if you're, taking care of all of them, like have 2 of them or whatever play. And then you're going to make cookies with just one person, and you're going to be there, and you're going to connect, and you're going to bond. Like I found that I didn't even realize how much I was craving that.
Wow. I appreciate that, because my kids are all older, but 3 of our 4 still live at home, going to school and living at home. And so like they've got their lives, but I'm like, my gosh, we're in the same house, but why are we all alone together? And so I appreciate that. And one thing that I would say too, is like, get rid of this when you're having family time. Like, put it in the next room. These are our pacifiers, but such a barrier to connecting with the people that we love the most. And I'm not saying it's an easy thing to do, but wow, there's nothing that keeps you present like being away from your phone and just like with that other person or with those other people. So I would say, that, and it doesn't have to be all night, but for 15 minutes or 30 minutes or, whatever.
It's so true, Allyson. And it's, and what I've found is that we all need to, like with my family, we all need to kind of support each other in that, meaning like the kids need to remind us. So we have a phone bowl, and it's like between the hours to 5 to 7, I'm not supposed to be on my phone. And so everyone will be like, phone bowl, mom, phone bowl. And it's become this kind of game, but it is so important because it is. I've never heard that, but it is our pacifier. And especially in, when we own a business and it's online primarily, and we're on social media and we're, doing things like this, it's all, we always could be on. We don't really shut off. So we have to be really intentional and disciplined about putting the phone away to be present.
Yes. And kids are really good to hold you accountable to that. Oh my gosh. Because if they hit below the belt, they'll be like, well, mom, I thought that this was your rule you put in place. At least my kids, they like to get the guilt out.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, oh, dang it. Yes, you got me. Okay, take it. So
Actually, my daughter said something because I was like, okay, we're going to, because I had just done this with my son, and she was like, oh, when's our next thing? And can you please not bring your phone? And I was like, yes, of course I won't. But even the fact that she has to say that is like,
I know, right? Gets it right here in the heart. It totally does. It totally. But but on the flip side of that, when we have been in conversations with our spouse or with our girlfriends and they're on their phone, we feel that barrier.
Oh, 100%.
Well. And so like everybody wins. Everybody wins when we put the phone away. But
yeah.
Oh my gosh, Julia, this has been such an amazing conversation with you. And I know people are going to want to know how they can connect with you, what you have. I know you have an awesome offer for my audience. So will you tell us about that and how people can find you?
Yes. So I have a podcast as well. Like you mentioned, it's called Dream Your Life. I work with clients one-on-one. I really think that a lot of the women, I work mostly like 95% with women, although I've had a man or two, women who are kind of going through the millennial midlife crisis, I guess. When you've done the 9 to 5 or you're in a corporate career and you're having that tug feeling like, is this it? Is there something more, but I don't know what it is. And then you go back and forth, and then you're feeling this guilt because you feel like your life should feel like more, mean more, but you don't know what it is or how to get there. That is my sweet spot. I really love that, working with women who are trying to figure that out, just because I was there and I know how it feels. And I also know what the other side feels. And there's so much beauty on the other side. So I work one-on-one, and then I have a group program. I'm not currently running it right now, but it's called Dream Your Purpose. And I keep it pretty intimate, about 10 women. And we go through together kind of this finding our purpose, reconnecting with ourselves, reconnecting with who we are and what we want, and then starting to manifest a life that just lights us up.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And what do you have for people today? Do you have a freebie for us?
Oh, did I say I do? Oh, I do.
It's the Raise Your Vibe workbook.
Oh, the Raise Your Vibe. Okay. I'm so sorry. Yes, we have the Raise Your Vibe workbook and tracker. And so it's actually perfect for this conversation. You can kind of check in with how you're feeling. There's journal prompts in there. There's a habit tracker to get you to do the things to keep your vibe up. And what I like about the journal prompts is that they're journal prompts depending on how you're feeling. So if you are feeling really low or kind of depressed or, bored, that kind of like, there's journal prompts for that to raise your vibe, versus like when you're feeling really hopeful and you just want to get to that next level, there are journal prompts for that. as well.
I love it. And you can get the link right here in the show notes because I know people are going to want that. I was just so excited to jump into this conversation with you that I was like, yay, let's do this. So Julia, thank you. Thank you for your amazing energy, for your wonderful wisdom, for how connected and down to earth you are. I know that this has been such a blessing to my life. I know it's going to bless my listeners' lives as well.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you'd like to leave with us before we say goodbye?
This is something that I truly believe. I truly believe every human being on this planet has the power within themselves to create a life that they love. And there's no need to sacrifice at all. Get clear on what you want and you can make it happen.
Oh, breathe that in, ladies. Oh, it's gorgeous. I agree. Thank you so much once again. Those of you who have tuned in, thank you. We're so happy you're here. And remember, until next time, prosperity becomes you.